Piyush Mathur, President, Nielsen Company, India. The President of the Nielsen Company, India, Piyush Mathur's contribution to the company has reaped rich rewards through the years. Responsible for Nielsen's business activities, Mr. Mathur has previously been the Managing Director, South Asia, and has handled consumer business. He has been a leader with diverse experience and knowledge, having served Nielsen in senior capacities across the Indian subcontinent as well as the Middle East and North Africa. Also, having headed media and internet studies as a research director, Mr. Piyush Mathur's wisdom and experience make for a laudable combination for success. We welcome Mr. Mathur in our midst.
Good morning, IMA. Good morning. Yes. I feel proud to be here speaking to IMA. What an event. It's just amazing how everybody comes together and organizes an event like this with excellence. So it's really outstanding, and I haven't seen this anywhere when so many people come together and make this happen. I think you guys are really among the very best. "10 years in a row, I think all other local management associations should be looking at you to making it happen in their city, in their state." I think it's just phenomenal. And I think from my perspective, getting an event like this and making it happen and making a huge community to come together is just amazing. So, I believe that all of you who made a contribution in making this happen, let me start with a big round of applause for those people. All right, so this is Aaj and the Kal of yesterday, right? You won all those awards. That was yesterday. What happens tomorrow? What happens Kal? Could be very different because the world is changing so fast. So, going by your mission statement of raising the bar on excellence and really realizing the leadership potential that exists, I think that's what I'm going to really talk about. How do you make it happen? Now, last night I did a very simple thing. I'm a simple guy, I do simple things. So I went and browsed, I put Indore in Google and searched. I got almost 5 million plus pages. Then I said, let me raise the bar. So I put in Pune, I put in Bangalore, and I got 6 times the number of pages. I can tell you, before I came to Indore, my eyes were shut. They really opened up when I landed in Indore. I think there is a need for you guys to really create the awareness about what's happening in Indore. I don't think the rest of India really understands what's happening out here. Another simple example of a small city. What are they doing? So this is Aurangabad, going for big orders for Mercedes and BMW. And you know what? If you look at one of the people there, he's saying that I really wanted Aurangabad to get onto the world map so that people can know what a small city in India could do. Created a lot of buzz about the city. Again, very simple thing to do. So we are going to talk a bit more about Pune and Bangalore, and I really am here to raise your bar on excellence. All right, so change is your survival kit. I think a great example from India itself is this phone, right? So, when we talk about, Kal, Aaj or Kal, I really look at the world in 3 different versions. So version 1.0, which is really the pre-internet era. So, the 70s, 80s. And then in the last 2 decades is what I would define as Aaj. And going forward is the Kal of tomorrow. So this phone signifies the version 1.0. And I'm sure you can remember, at least people with white hair like me will remember, that we used to do these trunk calls if we had to call across cities. And those trunk calls could take 2 days to get through. And then you had something called a lightning call, which would take, it'll cost you 8 times more, but it could take half an hour. Even in those days, lightning took its own time to strike India. Right? Those were the days of version 1.0. 18 million connections in 1 month. 18 million connections in 1 month. Unprecedented in the history of telecom anywhere in the world, including China. Never happened. So this is our new world, right? And I think if you talk about innovation, probably the biggest innovation of 2010 was this iPad. Yeah? I'm just back from a global meeting in Florida where 250 executives met, and our CEO felt that this was the gift that he wanted to give to everybody because this is the biggest innovation of 2010, right? Let me share with you an Indian example. This looks like an iPad, but it is not an iPad. It's a $35 laptop designed by engineers from IIT and Indian Institute of Science. And it is a reality. It is coming. It's got 3 things that the iPad doesn't have. It's got a USB connection, video out, and a camera. $35. It will change the game and raise the bar on excellence. I want all of you guys to start thinking what difference you will make on doing breakthrough innovation, even with the world leaders like Apple. How can we break them? This one is big. 1.1 million pieces on their way, and then the manufacturing will start in India. Phenomenal example of what change can do. Let me share this corporate video. It talks about how consumers are changing. Before taking you to Sarafa, let me take you to the world and tell you a few things that are changing around the world. This video, can we have the audio, please? move on. Okay, so looking at your agenda, Kal Aaj aur Kal, looking at your mission, I thought there were three things that I would talk about. And all of them, I would try to look forward and talk about version 3.0. Yeah, so the first one being India. Yeah, India 3.0 and how that would look like. The second one, this book from Kotler, Marketing 3.0. So I will talk about Marketing 3.0. And finally, you heard a lot of that this morning from Mr. Bhargava. I will give you my own lessons about leadership and Leadership 3.0 going forward. So with that, starting with India, I think, I'm back from the Middle East after 11 years, and I look at India, and this is the feeling I get. When I left, it was a chalta hai kind of attitude. Now there is so much drive and momentum that I see like never before. It is chale chalo, let's go and make it happen. And that is something that will really drive us going forward. So the Indian economy in the past has been seen as a large, lazy, and lumbering elephant, which was very, it was not moving, it was resisting, it was just too much for it to even start walking. I think in the recent past, this elephant changed the rules of the game and has taken off and decided to fly. All this as we compare with China, and we had some questions in the morning. There's always that comparison that happens with China. But you know what? We are doing it in a democratic setup. That is a huge positive for us and much more difficult to do than a setup like China. So I think kudos to the Indian economy that is taking us places. So now what are the opportunities that I see? So you all know about the GDP growth, you know the numbers and how it looks like. From my perspective, I picked up 4. So there is private consumption that's going up. Since the time I landed in Indore last night, I think everybody is telling me about the great food in Indore, the different cuisines, and how Sarafa turns from a gold souk into a food joint in the evening. I think that consumption will just drive our economy. And all the forecasts are saying that there will be more consumption, which means there is opportunity for all of you in this room. The second one is consumer confidence. We track consumer confidence in 52 countries around the world. And for the last 6 waves, which is almost 2 years, India has been at the highest. It's the number 1 country in the 52 countries based on consumer confidence. So they are confident about the economy. They are confident about their state of jobs. And part of that was during the recession. But they turned out to be much more confident than the West, and then even versus other developing nations. So I think that goes to say that there is this momentum in India, which means, again, opportunity for all our businesses. One big deal for us is the demographic dividend, as they call it. We've got a young population, and it's going to continue for a while. So I don't know how many of you know, but we add Australia every year in India. 24 million births. One Australia gets added every year, right? So huge youth population. There are 1 million youth that enter the workforce every month. If given opportunities, they will do so much more. And I think the opportunities are coming, the economy is showing it. Obviously, there are some concerns with the onion prices and the petrol prices and all of that. That's becoming a concern from a consumer perspective. But we've got the youth where the growth will just not be justified because you'll have a big population to take care of. Finally, you've always seen companies going from west to east, right? That trend is now getting on its head. the Indian companies and companies from developing world are going west. And there are so many examples with Bharti buying in or Godrej buying companies in Nigeria, in Argentina, in the UK. All of that is happening. And I think to me, it means that over a longish period of time, this growth will be sustainable. All right, so there is a lot of complexity, right? All of us know that. But I think that complexity is our friend, because that complexity makes you improvise, be innovative, and become an incredible Indian. And I'll touch upon 4 complexities that I see actually help us become better. So the dichotomy that exists, the Mukesh Ambani's Antilla $1 billion house is about 14 kilometers from the world's largest slum. Right? There is a huge dichotomy that exists within a short space. What does that mean? If you take the premium products or luxury products and you see the potential customers that exist in India for those products, just add them up, they are more than the size of Europe. That's the kind of potential that exists even for luxury products. So we say that every niche market in India is a mass market. That's how it is. Every niche market in India is a mass market. This is a great photograph. I love that. So they made this lane dedicated in Delhi for the Commonwealth Games. And they said, we will make a huge fine if you go onto that road. But who's going to find that fella? Very difficult to find that one. Now, again, there is a lot of chaos around us. And to thrive in chaos, you got to be open, flexible, and prepared, and planned in everything you do. And when we Indians actually go and work in other countries which are more organized, we do so well, because we know already how to thrive in a chaos. I think that learning is huge for us. There is huge diversity in that elephant, right? I'm talking about a new year every month. Not every year, every month. So we've got 12 new years in 1 year. Again, this diversity and managing different languages, different states, all of you businessmen and the students looking at how different states operate is just phenomenal. I mean, again, we get so much used to diversity that we can actually relate to different cultures as we go to other countries, and we are able to thrive in diversity. Phenomenal. And finally, I envisage that in India, with the growth that we have, in the next 20 years, there's going to be a talent war, if it is not already happening. So, abundance of labor, shortage of talent is the theme. 400 million people in the workforce, everybody's after the 4 million. And as India grows, this is going to get tougher and tougher. So you got to figure out your plan on how you're going to resolve this. And to all those students there, if you stand out from the crowd, sky is your limit. Literally, sky is your limit. So opportunity to get ahead in the game. Another thing that I looked at was, how do you compare a state with a country? So if you look at some of the GDPs of different states, so Maharashtra's GDP is actually more than New Zealand. If you look at Madhya Pradesh, it's almost same as Lebanon's GDP. So we've got huge large number of states that are huge in their GDP. So there is so much potential in each state that you can develop. And you see a lot of tourism campaigns happening, for Madhya Pradesh. I love that one. There is one for Kerala, there's one for Goa, and all of that. And you see that in some ways they are trying to compete with each other, right? And you got to get better at that. There is competition out there. It's healthy competition. It's one country, but it's different states. All right, so what happens next? And this is a special one for the students who don't know how the next 35, 40 years are going to be like. If they join the corporates now, they've got about 35, 40-year window before they retire. So what happens between now and the 35, 40 years? There is a person called Hans Rosling, and he was presenting in TED last year, and I want to show you a glimpse of that video.
I will show income per person on this axis instead. Poor down here, rich up there, and then time here. From 1858, I start the world, and we shall see what will happen with these countries. You see, China under foreign domination actually lowered their income and came down to the Indian level here, whereas UK and United States is getting richer and richer, and after the Second World War, United States is richer than UK. But independence is coming here, growth is starting, economic reform, growth is faster, and with projections from IMF, you can see where you expect them to be in 2014. Now the question is, when will the catch-up take place? Get ready for a world in equity, because this is what seems to be happening. And that vision that I got as a young student, 1972, that Indians can be much better than Swedes, is just about to happen. And it will happen precisely the year 2048, in the later part of the summer, in July, more precisely the 27th of July.
So those people, I don't know, we with gray hairs, where we will be, whether we'll be around or not, but to the students who will start their career at this point in time, and the young managers, this is your moment, really. This is your moment. This is what Mr. Bhargava was saying in the morning, that we didn't have this when we went to school. India was not placed the way it is placed now. And the next 35, 40 years would be huge for India. All right, so that was about India. Let me talk a little bit about Marketing 3.0. And let me show you, this is an interesting ad from a telecom operator in Italy who uses Mahatma Gandhi and talks about, if we had the technology that we have today, if that existed during the time when Mahatma Gandhi was around, what difference would it make, right? So I'm going a little bit the other way. I'm taking the technology of today and going back in the past. Let's play that.
To give a message, it must be a message of love. It must be a message of truth. I want to capture your hearts. Let your heart act in unison. Wish for that change. In that past history, did I believe in one world? How can I possibly do other? Of course I believe in one world.
Imagine today's technology in that world. So you can't even imagine what the technology would look like a few years from now and how it will change the way you operate. So let's talk about a little bit of how marketing is going to evolve. And this is from the Kotler book, Be More Anxious, Active, and Creative. So how do we turn this into our opportunity going forward? So when we're talking about anxiousness, we're really talking about, let's listen to them. The new technology actually enables us to listen to them, right? So, Facebook, 700 million subscribers. So I'm a dual citizen now. I reside in India and I reside on Facebook. It's the third largest country in the world. You got to listen to them because they're telling you already so much about your business, And I will tell you, I have a slide here of what they say about Indore, and what do they say about Pune, and what do they say about Bangalore. I'll show you in a minute. The second is, because they're getting so active, you got to use them to collaborate. Virtually, there is no competitor. You got to co-opt. This is the period of co-optation, where you work with your competitor so that you can give something of value to the consumer. And finally, it's all about innovation. Whether it's in Sarafa or it is elsewhere, I'll give you a few examples. So starting with listening. So what do you think was the biggest thing that people talked about during the World Cup? Anybody can shout? Which player, what? Saka, okay. Yes, that's the one. So we actually measure the buzz. No player came close to the octopus. All the octopus. Nobody came close to what people were saying about the octopus, right? So we, as Nielsen, we track 40 million blogs and social networking sites to figure out what consumers are saying about anything, whether it's a brand, whether it's a player, whether it's a city. And here it is for Indore versus Pune versus Bangalore. So your buzz about your city is very limited. You got to increase it. You got to increase your buzz about your city, about IMA. And then one is that the amount of buzz is low. What are the things that people are saying? So we picked up a couple of things for each city. So there was a lot of chat about Bangalore being the best India experience, business, and there was a talk about, I think it was linked to the train bombing that happened, Samjhauta Express, and some links happening here. So there were a lot of mentions there. So one is low buzz, and second is it's not positive. It's not positive. So you got to work on that going forward, because this is going to be the key in World 3.0. This is a book by my colleague. A lot of you, virtually everybody services a customer here, right? Everybody has a consumer, a customer that you service. Consumers are the lifeblood of any organization. This is how it will change, right? So a happy customer might only tell 3 people, but an unhappy customer will tell 3,000. A Bollywood film fails in maybe 6 hours because people go on Facebook and say, not worth watching, don't look at this, and the movie's gone, right? That's the world we live in now, and that's what one has to watch. Imagine any site, any product where there is no review online. Just imagine one product category where there is no review online. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. One product where I can't go and find out if somebody is saying something about that product. And increasingly, people are reviewing what is said on the blogs rather than your own site, because they know that you will tell them one view, but if somebody's used your product, they will tell them the real view. And that's already happening as we speak. Some innovations that are happening. So Airtel was a good example. Another one was Sunsilk, gang of girls. 7 million brand evangelists for Sunsilk now. They started in 2002. Huge success. And finally looking at social media and how it will impact the whole organization. Let me ask you a question here. So how many of you sent an email yesterday? Wow. Okay, almost everyone. How many of you sent a fax yesterday? Very few. So 10 years ago, we couldn't have imagined that fax will die. Today, we can't imagine that email will die. We can't imagine that. The trick of the trade is the technology that teens use become the technology of tomorrow. So a survey in US shows that only 13% of teens emailed yesterday. They are on the Facebook and they communicate through SMS. That's how the world will evolve. And you have your own opinion, but you got to embrace the change that's already coming our way. So we've set up a JV with McKinsey to really look at this social media space, because nobody understands how this social media will impact your organization, your competitor's organization, and organization that you serve, as in your customers. And that is something for the future. Second, collaborate. This is a great example of PG actually opening up their R&D. A lot of us tend to believe this R&D is our black box. We want to keep it with us. This is our competitive advantage. We just opened it up. And you look at the difference they make. Worldwide, there are scientists that are working for them to innovate without being on P&G rolls. So they were struggling something in the US. One scientist in Philippines actually told them what to do. And it got done much faster than in their own R&D lab. And this is where I talk co-optation. You got to work together to give a better product, add value to consumers. In rural, SBI, Smart Card, and then Chotu Cool, refrigerator from Godrej. And the way it was designed was it was together done with rural women. So it is actually not a front door opening, but it's a top door opening refrigerator, because there is constraints in the house in rural India. And then women themselves actually go and sell this product to other women. So they co-designed it and they became the salesperson for selling those products. I think that's where the world is moving. You got to start thinking differently. Finally, innovation. And I truly believe, this word will get into our vocabulary one day. There is a Cambridge professor who's wanting this word to get added in the Oxford Dictionary, called Indovation, which is innovation in India for India. And it's becoming such a big thing that this word is going to be coined. So, I like the innovation in Sarafa, where a gold soup becomes a joint, a food place after 10:30. I think that's real innovation. 3 people mentioned it to me since last night. I share with you some examples. So there is one on the ATM for people in rural India who are illiterate. So how do they communicate? It's so difficult to communicate with the ATM if you are illiterate, right? So this is a machine that actually talks to you in local language. So you have to put no password, nothing, it's fingerprint. You put your fingerprint, it talks to you, and you take the money. And I was with Professor recently, he's from IIT Chennai. He mentioned to me that they launched this machine, but people in rural India were not using it. So what happened? So they went and spoke to them, and they said, those notes are really crisp, and we can't use those crisp notes. So I said, why not? They said, in rural villages, the more the note has traveled different hands, and the more it has become soiled, means that it's not a fake. And I think the message here really is, you got to think of how the consumer behaves and then design your product. How your customer needs that service, then design your service, rather than the other way around, right? I think a great example from Tata. This is a good one at Gateway of India. So, I'm just back a few months ago, and I took my family. It was pitch dark. It was as if we were celebrating Earth Hour at Gateway of India. And then this guy comes and says, do you want a photograph? I said, yeah, but how will you take the photograph? I mean, there's no sun. Again, gray hair. I like the Polaroid camera. you need the sun to dry up. How would he? He said, no, I'll do it. So he clicked. He had a nice, digital camera. He clicked the photograph. And then he pulled a rucksack from behind. He took out a small printer. He connected it with his camera and gave me a print for 40 rupees. So innovation is happening in the streets of India. And you have to start thinking, what is the innovation that you are doing in your business? Because times are changing. Somebody will come with a completely different concept and will wipe you away. You will not realize what hit you. And then, of course, there is improvisation that happens, right? So we got to work with the resources we have and make it happen. Finally, touching upon on the leadership aspect, I think a lot was said this morning. I think it was wonderful with Mr. Bhargava talking about it. I think, back to your mission statement, raising the bar on excellence, that is the way to go. It is not about being successful. It's about doing things better yourself. Success will follow. That's a byproduct. It will come. As you start raising the bar on yourself, the success will follow. It will. You got to take those small baby steps, become a better person every day. Every day. Small, little impact. I'll tell you what I do. I love TED. There are so many inspirational presentations. I got it on my iPad. I see one presentation every day. And it inspires me to do something better. And I think what I do the following day, I do it a little different, maybe a little better. And that compounding impact that it will have over the years, you will become a much better person than you could have ever imagined. And I think that is a leadership learning for me. Second, it's how will you get that excellence? You got to be passionate about it. You got to be the Hanif Bhai that Mr. Bhargava mentioned in the morning. You got to be Hanif Bhai. Do what you are passionate about. And then you will not have to worry about your work-life balance if you are doing what you are passionate about. You will manage the rest. But you got to do what you are passionate about. I met a lady last night. She must be around here. She was running 4 companies. And the passion she showed and she portrayed of running those 4 companies during tough times and still standing tall was a big insight for me. I think that is the kind of passion that one needs to have. Finally, and I'm closing here, it's a lot about having fun too. There's no point in being successful, but sad. You want to get to the mountaintop? Everybody wants to get to the mountaintop, but you got to enjoy the climb as well. Let me show you how I would describe a successful career when I retire. So a few years from now, when I retire, if I retire like this, I think I would have done a pretty reasonable job of my career. And the reason I show you this is I think the life is becoming more real-time, more stressful, and we shouldn't forget this aspect.
इसी को तुम अखबार में छुप छुप कर देख रही थी ना?
हाँ, क्यों?
देखो, मैं ले आया।
पागल तो नहीं हो गए? कितने के हैं?
अरे कुछ भी नहीं।
नहीं, लौटा।
आज बहुत शुभ दिन है, वो वैलेंटाइंस डे। इस दिन जो लोग प्यार करते हैं ना, एक दूसरे को कुछ न कुछ देते हैं।
अब इस उम्र में कहाँ पहनूंगी हीरा?
अरे हीरे को क्या पता तुम्हारी उम्र?
SBI लाइफ इंश्योरेंस की लाइफ लॉन्ग पेंशन्स, ताकि प्यार के बीच पैसों की कमी ना आए।
So two reasons. Number one, life is going to be stressful. make sure you have a partner when you retire, right? Make sure of that. It's not a given. It's not a given. And the second is, make sure you're able to buy diamonds. Because I can tell you, my wife will be a little different than this. She will accept all the diamonds and ask for more. So, right? Okay, I leave you with this last slide. And I started talking about change and World 3.0. It's going to be tough, but it's up to you on how you will manage it, how you will look at the opportunities. So, the wind of change will blow. Some people here or some people around the world will build walls, and the other will build windmills. So I leave it to you to decide what you would prefer. Over to you.